So today, I'm going to formally introduce Nicole Naparvar. She's a psychotherapist, has a practice in Beverly Hills, and runs an amazing organization by the name of Chaya.
I see people in ages in their 20s and 30s going through a life transition, whether it's freezing your eggs or a breakup or your parents are getting divorced or you're new to the city and you're just having a hard time adjusting. It's really taking these transitional tough times and turning them into transformational times. So that's sort of one of the things that I do. And the other one is Chaya, which is an organization that I co-founded for Jewish Iranian women in the community. And it's about empowering them and having relationships and careers and just, self-love that really helps them accomplish their goals and set an example for the rest of the community to feel inspired and connected. Well, I think today we're going to be speaking about how to kind of put ourselves first in this process when we're coming to the decision of freezing our eggs, and how can we get support from the people around us who should we be identifying as supportive people to help us as we kind of move through what is sometimes and many times a process with a lot of different emotions and a lot of ups and downs. Like step one for all of us is just awareness of starting to take this inventory of where am I not putting myself first? Am I not putting myself first in my relationship with my partner? Am I not putting myself first in my relationship with my family, with my friends, in my career? These different areas of our life, how can we start to just tap in? How am I not putting myself first in self-care? Where is my self-care at? And what's my relationship with that? And so really just starting to notice okay, I'm falling behind on these things, or I'm feeling really depleted, or I'm feeling exhausted. These are all signs that we are not putting ourselves first.
Check, and check. Yeah. I was at all those places.
Yeah.
And I think, maybe for some other people, but for me it was I had to really hit rock bottom before I actually decided to do something about it.
Step two is something that we talked about is still starting to listen to, okay, what do I need? What do I want? Asking yourself that question once every hour. Okay, Nick, what do you need right now? What is going to make you feel good right now in a healthy way? And starting to explore what those different things are. And if you don't know, which you won't know if you're not tapped in, is to just start trying different things. So you're going to start seeing all of these different teachers and opportunities pop up because now your eyes are open. It's a mindset. It really is about starting to listen to yourself and speak to yourself in a way that is sort of the mother that you always needed that you maybe didn't have, and sort of having that mother inside of you ask you hey, what do you need, sweetheart? What's going to make you feel really good right now? Aww. And starting to have that relationship with yourself where you're taking care of yourself. And so for a lot of people it is it's freezing your eggs. This is a huge, beautiful, amazing way that in our generation and in this time we get to take care of ourselves, and we get to start to really put ourselves first. Right. And, for people who are listening to this for their friends also, that might be you're sort of noticing them not having that self-care, putting themselves first. I suggest that you never rob them of their rock bottom. And what I mean by that is let them get to that place, because that's the place where we activate.
Yes.
That's the place where we start to bounce back up, and we're okay, let's do this.
It was at one of your events that I actually shared with a group of women what it is that I want to be doing, and that was about 6 months ago that I put this idea of wanting to document my fertility, and the women were so positive and so supportive. And I was at that point, I was so scared. I hadn't made the decision yet. I was still trying to figure things out. And my headspace was definitely not there. But I felt so relieved to know that I have the support of these ladies, or to feel supported. Some of us are not fortunate enough or don't feel safe enough to go to a friend. They would like to go to their family, but maybe their family member is not capable of giving them the support they need.
Maybe this person isn't your parents, Who are these people in my life who just bring so much ease into the process of whatever I'm doing? Maybe it's a really close friend. Maybe it's turning to somebody in a support group that is going through something or has already gone through this process. Who can kind of give us some perspective. Maybe it's a boyfriend or somebody at the time that maybe you guys just aren't there yet in your relationship, but they know
That's totally normal though. Yeah. Girls even in a relationship with a boyfriend, I've heard so many stories that the guys help them
Mhm.
throughout the process. Would you suggest someone coming and speaking to a therapist?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
is that a good option? Jen?
Absolutely, of course. You know, having a counselor and somebody that we can just go to maybe once or even twice a week through this process
Yeah.
to just like vent and get everything out there of like
Yeah.
all the things we're feeling and feel listened to and heard is so important. And for them to kind of return to us with this validation of like, yeah, this is tough, and
tough.
what you're going through right now is difficult, and I'm so proud of you,
Yeah.
and what do you need, and how to like get that person to just know, you know, they know, I mean, we know how to like
yeah.
recenter you and how to get you
Yeah.
back on like, okay, like calm, and I know what I'm doing, and this feels good, and I almost feel rejuvenated even when I go to therapy of like, wow, like I really
100%.
needed that, and
Yeah.
I'm ready to like go back into my week and conquer whatever I need to conquer for myself.
Just won't feel as overwhelming, I feel like, or you
Yeah.
won't feel like you're alone
Yeah.
on it.
So one of the big things is shame, right? Is
Yeah.
identifying those people who are kind of making you or trying to make you feel guilty or
Yeah.
ashamed of, you know, where you are in your life or the
Mm.
decisions that you're making, and criticizing them, or just, and I think you can really feel that in your body. It's like, oh, this doesn't feel safe. This
Right.
makes me want to be quiet.
Right.
This makes me want to shut down. This makes me
Mm.
want to not share. These are all things that we can take note of when we're talking about things that are really important and personal to us. It's like, okay, this is not somebody that I want to be sharing this with.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I told you a little bit about how I told my parents about how I
Yeah.
wanted to freeze my eggs.
Yeah.
So not everyone is as, I guess, fortunate enough to be able to communicate like that. I think, I don't know. You can
Mhm.
tell me. You
Absolutely.
see patients all the time, but I mean, it was challenging for me. I had to actually write them a letter because I was so nervous about telling them what I wanted, what it is that I was going to do.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that you mentioned that's really important is this idea of writing a letter. And I think that works really well with parents who are kind of aggressive or in your face or interrupt, and it's like, okay, let me get everything out. You have to read the entire thing. You can sit with it, you can process it, you can
Yeah.
think about then as a parent, how do I want to show up for my daughter right now, and, you know, pause. And so it's not so much in that moment of like, but what about this and this, and oh my god, and what does it
Right.
even mean, and
Right.
you know, so it's like giving them a second as well to just kind of compose themselves, get their questions together, get their energy together, and think about how they want to show up for you. So
Yeah.
writing a letter is a great way to go about this. I think it's also important to just, you know, let them know exactly what you said, why you're doing this, and what are some of the misconceptions about it, and kind of getting rid of those myths or those ideas and things like that. Also letting them know how it's empowering you, because I think a lot of parents are worried about like, oh, so does this mean like you're not going to be dating anymore, or you're just going to be like chilling with your eggs on the side, and like, you know, so kind of like addressing some of those like, you know, maybe misconceptions about this actually does free you up in a lot of ways, like you described, to really relax into dating and really start to tune in with yourself more than ever about who do I want to be, who do I want to be attracting, is there even a connection,
Right.
you know, do we share the same values, do we, like, how am I being in this moment with this person, do I like how I'm being, do I not like how I'm being,
Yeah.
instead of the focus being on like, okay, like, can you give me some things for me to put inside myself so we can kind of combine and have children and do the whole thing, right?
Yeah. When you take care of yourself, you can do so much more, even for the people around you, because you're good to yourself, and you can then be good to them.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, in relationships, when you do kind of find that partner who's also going to want to put you first, and then you're going to kind of find those times where it feels very effortless and easy, and maybe even rejuvenating for you to do the same for them, and then you're both putting the relationship first. It's the space between each of you that now takes priority, you know what I mean? And if it's in alignment with both of you, great.
Yeah. So refreshing to hear.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Of course.
sharing. Thank you.